The paramedics never expected their longest night to begin with a dog in the middle of a snowstorm. The blizzard had come fast and vicious, swirling down over the sleepy mountain town like a thick white curtain. Jake Miller, the paramedic in the passenger seat, squinted through the windshield wipers that could barely keep up. Next to him, Claire, his partner and the ambulance driver for the night, kept both hands tight on the wheel as the tires crunched over a road now more ice than asphalt. They were coming back from a late-night call, nothing serious this time, just an elderly man with chest pains who turned out to have only a mild anxiety attack. The snow had begun to fall when they'd parked at the hospital. By the time they left, it had become a full-on storm. Jake exhaled, watching his breath fog up the side window. He was exhausted. They both were. All they wanted was to get back to the station safely, warm up, and grab a cup of burnt coffee before the next call. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. The figure appeared suddenly out of the swirling white haze, a shape darker than the snow, bounding into their headlights before freezing still, smack in the middle of the narrow road. "Claire, stop!" Jake shouted. Claire slammed the brakes. The ambulance skidded, tires shrieking against the ice, but miraculously they didn't slide into a ditch. When they came to a full stop, the shape was clearer now, a big German shepherd, his fur speckled with snowflakes, panting clouds of steam into the icy night. "What the hell?" Claire murmured. Jake unbuckled his seatbelt. "Stay here." He opened the door and the storm slapped him full in the face, wind like knives, snowflakes stinging his skin. He stepped into the headlights' glow. The dog didn't move. It just stood there, tail wagging slightly, eyes locked on Jake. "Hey, buddy," Jake called softly, raising his hands. "You okay? What are you doing out here?" The shepherd barked, a sharp, urgent sound, then turned and trotted a few feet down the road. He stopped, looked back at Jake, barked again. Jake glanced over his shoulder at Claire, who was watching through the windshield, eyebrows raised. "He wants me to follow," Jake shouted over the wind. "You're kidding," Claire called back. But Jake already knew. He'd seen enough animals on calls to know when something was wrong. This dog wasn't lost. He wasn't trying to cross the road. He was trying to tell them something. He waved to Claire. "Bring the rig, slowly." The shepherd turned again, trotting into the whiteout. Jake jogged after him, boots slipping on the icy road. The dog would run ahead, then pause and bark, making sure Jake stayed close. Minutes passed like hours. They left the main road, turning onto a barely-plowed side lane that wound through the pine trees. The ambulance crept behind them, tires crunching over frozen snow. Jake's lungs burned from the cold. His mind raced. Where was this dog taking them? Who could be out here, in this storm? And then he saw it, a glimmer of metal under the snow, just off the roadside ditch. It was a car. Or what was left of one. Jake broke into a run, slipping down the embankment. The shepherd bounded ahead, barking frantically now, tail wagging so hard his whole body shook. "Claire! We've got a wreck!" Jake yelled. Claire parked the ambulance at an angle, flipped on the lights, and grabbed the med bag. By the time she joined Jake, he was already kneeling by the car, brushing snow off the shattered driver's window. Inside was a young woman, maybe mid-20s, her face pale, eyes half open. In the backseat, wrapped in a puffy pink blanket, was a baby, quiet, too quiet. "Oh God," Claire breathed. Jake's training kicked in. Can you hear me? Hey, stay with me." He checked her pulse, faint but there. Claire slipped past him and swung open the back door, reaching for the baby. The child's skin was cold as marble. "Is she?" Jake asked. Claire pressed her fingers to the baby's neck, then let out a breath. "She's alive. But just barely." They worked like clockwork, adrenaline drowning out the howling wind. Jake cut the seatbelt free and helped Claire lift the mother out while she cradled the baby against her chest, using her own body heat. Above them, the German shepherd barked wildly, pacing back and forth as if urging them to hurry. The rescue was delicate, one wrong step and they'd slide down the embankment with the stretcher. But somehow, guided by the shepherd's watchful eyes and sheer grit, they got mother and child into the warm ambulance. Inside, Claire wrapped the baby in heated blankets, hooking up oxygen. Jake checked the woman's vitals, relaying everything to dispatch on the radio. The storm battered the sides of the rig, but inside was a tiny bubble of warmth and determination. And the dog, he didn't leave. He sat just outside the back doors, staring at them through the swirl of snow. Once the mother and baby were stable enough to transport, Jake opened the door again. The shepherd lifted his head, ears perked up. "Hey, boy," Jake said, his voice breaking. "You did good. You saved them." The shepherd wagged his tail once, twice, then bounded off into the white darkness, disappearing as suddenly as he'd appeared. The hospital lights were blinding after the hours in the storm. The ER team rushed out to meet them, taking mother and baby inside. Jake and Claire stood side by side, shivering but buzzing with the rush of knowing they'd made it in time. When it was over, when the paperwork was signed, the hospital staff gave them weary smiles and a thumbs up. Claire turned to Jake in the ambulance bay. "Do you think that dog, do you think he was theirs?" Jake shook his head. "Didn't see any collar. No tracks except his. Just showed up, knew what to do, and vanished." Claire rubbed her gloved hands together, looking out at the parking lot now blanketed in snow. "Guardian angel," she whispered. Jake nodded. Justice on Paws. The next morning, the local news ran the story: paramedics rescued woman and child thanks to hero dog. But no one found the dog. No collar. No tag. No one came forward to claim him. He was just gone. Some say he was a stray who happened to be in the right place at the right time. Others say he was something more, proof that help sometimes comes in fur and for paws when we least expect it. So the next time you see a dog out in the cold, barking like he's got something urgent to say, maybe stop and listen. He might just be trying to save a life. If you felt this story touch your heart, drop a comment below and tell us, do you believe animals can be guardian angels? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Justice on Paws for more real and inspiring stories like this one. Together, we can make sure no act of courage, big or small, ever goes unnoticed. Thank you for watching. Stay warm, stay kind, and remember, sometimes, heroes have 4 legs and fur.